Hello and good morning to everyone and welcome to this Construction Buzz webinar. I'm delighted to say that we are with Think Project again today on this summer series of webinars, and we'll be looking at the leveraging of BIM for improved quality and compliance during construction, an introduction to the Kairnial platform. Now, before I pass over to Richard, who's going to be our presenter today, just think it'd be good just to go through a couple of sort of housekeeping on the platform if you haven't used it before. So at the end of the webinar, we will have a Q&A. On the right-hand side, you'll see questions. If you can put your question in there, I will then take them questions at the end and put them to Richard to hopefully get through all of them and answer them. So yeah, just quite simply put your questions in there. This session is being recorded, just so everyone is aware. So just in case you did want to pass this on to any colleagues that you feel will benefit from listening to it that weren't able to watch it live, you can forward that on to them after the webinar is finished. So I'm now going to make Richard the presenter, who can introduce himself, and I hope you enjoy this webinar. Okay, Richard, you should now be able to share your screen.
Excellent. Let's just share this. Hopefully we're in business now.
All good.
Okay, I'm just going to minimize this control panel on the left here. Okay, good morning, everybody, and maybe good afternoon. I'm not too sure where everybody's listening from. My name is Richard Moyle. Great pleasure to introduce the Kairnial platform to you this morning for the next 40 minutes, 45 minutes. And as we said, very happy to take questions in the chat function as we go through this. And the intention of today's session is to, one, introduce the Kairnial platform to you for those that have never seen us before, and actually just understand some of the value we can start to bring specifically during construction, and focusing around being able to really leverage BIM information throughout construction, not just during design. My background, last maybe 15 years, maybe slightly more, I've been typically working for software vendors, specifically in the construction industry, specifically helping some of the largest project teams, programs, asset owners globally implement solutions, both BIM solutions and project control and field type solutions, but ultimately helping them to try and improve their business processes and ultimately trying to improve the quality of the overall delivered asset at the end of the project. In terms of Think Project, I'm not sure how many people are aware of us as a business. We're arguably the European leader in construction technology. So working with many thousands of projects and hundreds of thousands of users globally right now, over 700 employees and many offices, and we're springing up new offices all the time around the globe. So I'm sure you'll have come across some of our products before, but maybe you've not necessarily understood us as a business. But effectively, we're all about servicing the construction, the operational phase of project delivery and asset ownership, and providing best-in-class solutions throughout the life cycle of built assets to help support that process. In terms of our portfolio, we're not going to go into this in any level of detail because we're here to talk about Kairnial today. Just want you to understand the kind of breadth of the platform, or the breadth of the Think Project portfolio. So essentially, we're spanning the entire design, construct, operate life cycle of assets, and in some instances even deconstruction as well. And we have then specific solutions that fit the profile based on what you're particularly looking for. Everything from kind of design and document collaboration and kind of fit in that CDE space, through to BIM management, field management processes, on then into both contract management and cost control, and even then into operations and asset management. And we've got lots of webinars coming up where we're introducing the various different solutions across the portfolio, and even where we're starting to then integrate those solutions as well to provide a wider offering to our clients. And as you can see, Kairnial kind of fits the profile and a number of different streams here. So it supports clients from a doc management perspective, it supports clients from a BIM management perspective, and also then crucially allowing them to take all of that information out into the field and work from a quality and a compliance perspective. In terms of the Kairnial platform, our specialism is all around making built asset information accessible in the field. We do lots of other things as well, but that's our real specialism, our real USP. So effectively, you've got a web platform, which we'll introduce shortly. We've got then a fully integrated mobile application that works entirely offline. And what we allow users to do is we allow you to structure and share your project documents. We allow you to structure and share 2D plans, but also models. We allow you to connect all that information together, and we then allow you to manage processes such as observations, defects, inspection type processes, through to more audits and compliance type checks, through to then equipment management, installation, commissioning type processes. So it's all about making that latest version of a document, plan, or indeed model available from the web, but also crucially out on site via mobile devices, and then allowing business processes such as quality and compliance processes to kind of sit on top of that. And we're very comfortable providing our solution as a standalone solution. So many of our clients, many of our contractors and asset owners use Kairnial as their, let's say, CDE, if you will. But also we're very comfortable being connected into other environments and alongside other project delivery tools. So within Think Project, we have our own CDEs that Kairnial is connected into, where we can share the latest documents, models and plans from those CDEs, again out into the field. But we also have connectivity into other business tools and maybe other external CDEs that you may already have within the business. So you're able to put Kairnial directly alongside your other tools and make it part of your technology ecosystem. And then crucially, the other end of this, we're able to allow you to report on all of the data within the Kairnial platform out into business intelligence tools such as Power BI. So we've got off-the-shelf connectors for some of these platforms that allows you to effectively just to plug Kairnial in as you need to. In terms of who we do this for, quite a big profile. Probably main part of our business is around either general contractors, principal contractors, or indeed developers, asset owners. We have a small group in the middle of project managers or specialist consultants, but the bulk of our work is split between contractors, developers, owners, operators, and again, some of the largest owner operators and developers across Europe right now. In terms of then kind of the use cases that we support, and again, I'm going to kind of demonstrate most of these rather than talk about them. So Kairnial's really designed to fit that entire asset life cycle, but fits really well and plays really well in that construction and handover phase of the project. And you can see that's typically where the most popular use cases, if you like, are that our clients are typically managing. So everything from simple document management and control through to approvals and reviews, and then on into those kind of field-based processes. So inspection, test planning, site safety, snagging, defect management, and then again on into the kind of handover or pre-operational handover checks. So this is where you've got your asset owners wanting to do their own checks and inspections against the asset as it's been delivered before you're taking taking ownership of that. As I said, I didn't want to focus too much on slides here, so kind of 10 minutes. We're going to get into a live demo now, show you the platform, and as I said, please feel free to ask any questions in the chat, and we'll kind of pick these up in the next 20 minutes, 25 minutes or so. So we're just going to stop sharing here, and we're going to jump across to here. We'll go full screen. Okay, so we'll start with the web platform and just give you a quick look and feel around this. So as I said, we've got the web platform, we've then got fully integrated mobile application. So the web is where you can create your projects, it's where you can invite users, it's where you can do all your administration and all of your reporting. We want this to be really easy to get into, so simple username and password. We do have extra levels of security and encryption, so we can put two-factor authentication on the platform. We can put single sign-on into the platform as well. As you can see, this is multi-project, so the user picks the project that they want to get into, and I'm then able to log directly into that particular project. So we'll just allow that to fire up. What we're seeing here now within this project is down the left-hand side, we see all the different modules and components that Kairnial offers. So I talked about us doing document management, managing models and 2D plans, and then our field-related activities such as equipment, forms, observation and defect management. And there are some supporting things that sit around that, but those are typically the 5 core modules that we offer, and our clients are typically taking that as a one or more combination. We offer the platform multilingual for those that are interested, so users are able to work in French, German, Spanish, Italian, Chinese simplified if they wish. So we can mobilize new languages very, very rapidly within the system, but again, it ensures that the users are able to kind of use the platform in a language that's applicable to them. So we're just going to very quickly skip through each of these modules and kind of go to the really sexy bit, if you like, which is the field working part. But I want you to really understand what you're looking at here. So I talked about document management. I talked about the fact that we can allow you to structure your information however you wish. So essentially, you've got a very familiar look and feel folder structure, very simple to set up, very rapid to deploy, very easy for you to be able to manage security around in terms of who can access that particular folder or that particular subfolder of information and who can upload information into the system. And when we're putting information in the system, what we essentially end up with is a list of version control files. And you can see if I just select this icon here, we're able to effectively show the full history of every file. So by default, we show the latest revision. So in this example, P03, but below that, I've got P02, P01. So there's a full audit trail of every revision of every file in the system, but we're ensuring the latest revision sits at the top of the pile for people to be able to pick up. It's very easy for people to be able to search through. So if I want to search for everything related to a particular element of a file name, such as DR for drawing, then it'll bring back just the files that match that particular criteria. So we want this to be simple. We want it to be really easy with a minimal amount of training for people to just start to share information. And if you want to then add more control on top of that, you absolutely can do. So you can align the system to accommodate all your file naming conventions if you wish. So in this example, I think this is based on PAS 1192 or BIM UK standards, but essentially you can put whatever standard you want. The system will then validate every file that comes in and ensure that everything's named in accordance with what you're looking for. You can also manage files through review and approval processes. So as soon as a file comes into the system, I want to send that file to the contractor team for review, give them X amount of days to do that. I also want to go to the architect for review, give them X amount of days to do that. So again, a very simple approach to review and approval management, but works very well for users within our system. And then obviously you're able to visualize and look at that information. And if you want to go into even more detail, then you're able to do review, comment, markup, and annotation, and collaborate around those comments within the system. So I'm able to easily mark up information and track my comments through there. But that's for another day when we start to go into that level of detail. So that's document management. If we move on now and start to think more around plans and models, we start at a level called a model and plan assembly. So within our system here, we can see different model and plan assemblies. Effectively, they're just groups, version control groups of models, groups of plans. So you can see in this medical clinic example, I've got an architectural model, I've got the MEP, I've got the structural, I've got very specific revision of each of those particular models. So we track each revision as that comes through. And again, we want this to be really easy. So it loads directly in the browser. There's nothing for the end user to install. Users can then really easily just click on components within the model. I can zoom in and out, navigate around really smoothly. And obviously this is more than navigation. So we want users to be able to interrogate. We want you to be able to look at the data that sits within those models. So you're able to access all that information. You're able to then actually click on any one of those parameters, such as category, and it'll just automatically filter the view for you. So again, we want it to be easy for users to be able to isolate information, navigate around information, and find what exactly they're actually looking for. You'll notice that alongside the standard parameters, there's actually some custom parameters. So these parameters that are in blue here are entirely custom. You're able to add those into the system. You're able to put security around who can then edit those within there, and again put security around visibility. So it allows our clients to be able to capture more information relating to the asset, whether it's cost, whether it's time, whether it's operational related information. And crucially, you can view and you can add data and value to these fields when you're on the mobile device as well. You've also got built into here review tools. So if you do want to start to do reviews from a BIM perspective, you're able to do that. You're able to annotate. You're able to capture that as a snapshot viewpoint, and you're able to then categorize that. Apologies, but I can't type and talk at the same time. So we can save that as a collaborative, we call it a review item within the system. Effectively, it's a comment in the model. But again, we want you to be able to exchange that information with your other tools. So lots of our clients are using really detailed analysis tools like Navisworks, like Celebri, or maybe our own tool, D-Site BIM, which we'll introduce at a later date. So being able to generate issues in those tools, bring those issues back into Kairnial, and then allow your wider stakeholder team to be able to just track through each of those respective issues and collaborate around them, again, brings value to what we're doing here. So we've talked about documents. We've talked very briefly about models. We've also got those 2D plans structured within the system as well. So lots of our clients work in 2D only. It's not just about BIM. So it's really important we're able to, again, visualize at high resolution the 2D plans within here, and again, provide some structure around those 2D plans so that you can take really complex projects and effectively store and manage hundreds, maybe thousands of different plans, and allow users to be able to search and filter through them and navigate easily. So we take the documents, we take the models and plans, we version control, we structure, and then crucially, we make them available out in the field. So we're now going to jump across to our mobile device. So hopefully you can now see my iPad. I'll give it 30 seconds for somebody to shout up and tell me that we can't. But essentially, this is our mobile application fully integrated into our web platform. So same username and password, same projects are accessible within here. And crucially, we're able to then allow a user to synchronize the data on that project. And by synchronizing, you're taking the latest documents, the latest 2D plans, and the latest models down onto your mobile device so that you can then go and work entirely without internet connection. So if we're doing high-rise buildings and we want to work in basement level with no internet connectivity, this allows you to do that. If we're doing tunneling projects, we're able to do that again without internet connectivity. You can take your latest information and go and work entirely offline, manage all your processes, and then come back and synchronize the data as you need to. So once we get into the project, this is all designed around construction productivity. Okay, so the first thing we see when we come in is a breakdown of all of the issues, or what we call observations, that are happening on site right now. And you can see here we can kind of categorize those as different things. Maybe they're handover issues, maybe they're fire related hazards, just even points of interest. It's all fully customizable. So the terminology we use, the color schemes that we use, the workflow that we implement, and the security that sits behind that is tailored to the needs of you, the client, and to your projects. And when we implement Kairnial, certainly with enterprise approach, we typically set you up with a number of templates that reflect the way that you want to work on different types of schemes and different types of projects. And then it's very easy for you or an administrator from your business to be able to create copies of that template and to mobilize new projects extremely rapidly. So it's not uncommon for us to mobilize a new project within a few hours, implement the 2D plans and the models, and within a day, that client's then up and running with a new project ready to go. Obviously, that's, you know, simple world, and it does get more complex, but it gives you sort of some indication around how quick you can mobilize here. So from a dashboard perspective, we can see breakdown by types of issue. We can see breakdown by assigned company, for example. So again, the system's designed to be collaborative. It's designed to allow you to bring all of your supply chain in. We typically license Kairnial on unlimited users. We can do user license, but the norm for us is unlimited data, unlimited users, because that allows you to have the best experience. It allows you to have the best collaborative experience, and it allows you to have cost certainty on knowing what you're actually going to be paying at the end of that project in respect of use of the system. Across the bottom here, you'll see that we've then got the different modules and components. They're very much aligned to what we saw in the web platform. This is our models, or our BIM area, our BIM engine, and we will come back to this in a second. This is our 2D environment. This is where we can manage all of those issues, or what we term observations. So a centralized register of all of your issues right now that are happening during delivery, or maybe even during operations, if you want to use this and continue to use this during operation. You can see you can filter on the left by any parameter. So although you can customize the system, if you put a custom field in, then that custom field becomes a filter on the left-hand side. Sat alongside that, you've then got your form-based processes. So you're able to create any type of checklist, inspection, audit, control. We call them, the generic term is control forms, but effectively these are data capture forms that you can create very easily. You can template from an enterprise perspective, and you can mobilize on projects very, very rapidly. And then finally, you've also got your document structure. So the latest version of every document, every operation and maintenance manual is fully available to you. And again, this is just reflecting the structure that you've built in our document management system. So lots of our clients use Kairnial for actually producing or creating their digital O&Ms, their digital record, if you like, that then can be used very simply on the mobile as an ongoing asset record. So there's lots of different use cases of how we can kind of stitch all of this, all of these things together. Talking more around quality and compliance, let's go back to 2D. Okay, so from a 2D perspective, I'm able to see those same model plan assemblies that I referred to earlier on. So you'll see as I click on each one of these, we get a different set of 2D plans. I've now got structured plans for each floor level of this particular building. In this example, I can drill into that particular floor level and I can then see high definition 2D plans. We're very comfortable with PDF or DWG, we don't care. Everything gets treated the same and it gets automatically optimized so that users can use this on tablets, on phones, and again, get the high resolution experience. For lots of our clients, when they want to manage quality and compliance processes, just having a single floor plan is enough, okay? But for other clients, they want more information. So not only do I need the architectural plan, I also maybe need the electrical schematic, and I maybe need the fire protection information, or even the entire MEP services within here. So we're able to very easily add that as layers of information that can then be turned on and off by the end user, as you can see, just to bring a more detailed view to that data set. And we can automate the creation of this from BIM models. So we can take from your Revit models, for example, you can publish the models, the 2D views, but also the rooms within there as well. So we're able to identify zones, areas, and locations. And if I just zoom out, you'll see that that floor plan all of a sudden is cut now into 120 different rooms. So we can automate the creation of this from BIM models. If you don't have BIM models or you've got IFC-based BIM models, then you're able to manually create this just the same. So lots of our clients have nothing more than 2D PDF plans, but they want to be able to create these areas, rooms, zones, and locations so that they can then manage their processes at a much more granular level. Okay, so we're able to go into that space, we're able to now hold our finger on screen, and we're able now to create a particular type of observation, issue, or item. And you can see we can categorize, we can assign it to contractors, we can add additional photographs and annotate on there as we need to. We can also add custom information. So if you want to add fields like, well, how much does it actually cost us to fix that particular issue, but you don't want everybody seeing that cost, you're able to implement security around custom parameters in here as well. But the reality is we now end up with an intelligent pin attached into that room or that space or that location on our 2D plan. And you'll see that I'm able to now manage that observation, or in this example, construction snag. I'm able to manage that through any custom closeout procedure we care to consider, again, all aligned to your particular requirements. So one of the beauties about Kairnial is it's really easy to use, but at the back side of that, it's really configurable as well. So you can tailor Kairnial around your particular business processes, but from an end user's perspective, I get the ease of use. Okay, and I think that's reasonably unique. You tend to find that with these type of solutions, if it looks simple, it probably is simple in terms of how it can be configured, and it doesn't always align to the needs of the particular client. I'm just going to turn off these areas here. Okay, so as well as being able to manage issues, defects, snags, or again what we call those observation-based processes, and again let's just turn this off just to simplify the view here. We're able to create, or you're able to create your own inspection type processes. So you can drag any type of inspection you like into the system. Let's keep it simple, do a room inspection, drag that into there, and we're then presented with one of those custom forms or inspection templates that we looked at earlier on. And again, these are all, you capture whatever type of data you want here, put security around individual fields, who can see it, who can enter values, attach photographs, attach comments, and you can also trigger defect or observation type processes in relation to this. So if we find a failure, we can trigger a defect or an issue to manage that failure through to a satisfactory resolution within there. And obviously the two things are then linked together. Just staying in 2D for now, before we look at models, we're also able to manage equipment. Okay, so this is BIM information without models, effectively. Okay, so we're able to, let's enable here fire protection, and it make more sense. So you can see here on this fire protection drawing, I've got sprinkler systems. Okay, and then on the equipment module, I've then got different types of equipment. So again, this is all custom. Okay, so under safety, we've got fire access panels, we've got fire sprinklers, all custom information. So you're able to upload your equipment templates, your equipment library into the system, and then I'm simply able to drag and drop that sprinkler onto that drawing. And what that does is that now creates a unique instance of that piece of equipment. Okay, and you'll see that that piece of equipment now has data, just the same as if I had a BIM, a model, and I could click on objects and see the parameters for that object. Exactly the same concept, but in 2D, which is extremely powerful. Okay, so if you want to go to an existing asset that all you've got right now is DWGs and 2D PDFs, you're able to create a digital record of information about the equipment that's in that building. And again, some of our clients use this from a decommissioning perspective. So they'll go and identify resources and equipment in buildings, and then capture data, and then again they can leverage that data. So not only can we capture equipment data, we can capture the status of that piece of equipment. So again, fully customizable. Maybe we're tracking the installation, the checks, the inspection processes against that equipment. And we can also then attach those same inspection process forms that we were talking about earlier on. So you're able to build up an extremely robust quality and compliance record of equipment during delivery, or maybe as you're taking ownership, or maybe as you're acquiring a new asset that's already existing. Lots of flexibility. And again, to show that connectivity, you're able to then link the documents from the doc store into here as well. So this is all of our O&M information relating to that piece of equipment, or maybe this is how we should maintain that piece of equipment. So you can put video guides as documents as well. Let's just stop that. Okay, so BIM without BIM, I guess, is the best way to explain that. Okay, so what if we do have models? What then? Okay, so let's just kind of have a look at that concept. So again, being able to do everything that I'm showing you here but from an offline perspective. So imagine having all of this data at your fingertips without the need for an internet connection. That's what Kairnial's about, okay? And we're able to display extremely large models and data sets. So we've got clients that are putting many gigabytes of data through the system. And obviously, as long as the storage capacity of the device is good enough, then you're able to store it, you're able to display it, and you're able to take it away just as easily. We can then get in, as you can see, it's high resolution, it's extremely smooth to be able to navigate around. But again, this is not just about navigation. This is about the data. So this is about being able to select those components, being able to look at the data, be able to filter using any of those parameters, just as I showed you in the web platform. But then crucially, being able to connect more information. So as you can see here, we got snags and defects in multiple languages. So we're able to see and display defects and issues in the model just the same as we can from a 2D perspective. We're able to attach any checks and inspection forms, exactly the same processes. You can link, and we can also attach documents and records and O&Ms and any type of other information you want in there. So it's the same capability, but from a BIM perspective. But here's the reality, okay? Having a model with fully connected data clearly brings value. But if your end user on site is unable to be able to navigate around that using this type of device in the first place, then it's lost and there'll be no value, okay? So you've got to give your end user an easy way of being able to navigate around that asset. And the way we choose to do that is we allow them to be able to use the 2D plans, the same 2D plans we were just looking at, alongside the model. So I'm able to effectively load up any 2D plan we wish. You can see there's the same 2D plan with all its defects and observations, but crucially now we can grab the camera and we can now go anywhere we like within that built asset, because the 2D plan's fully connected, fully integrated with the BIM model. And that just changes the game in terms of being able to go anywhere I like within that building and select any components and then start attaching information. And as you can see, we display issues bi-directionally. They're fully interchangeable here. So we've got defects showing number 31 in our model, but we've got defect number 31 also displaying in our 2D plan. Okay, so an extremely powerful capability to be able to allow a user to feel comfortable in how they navigate, but be able to leverage the BIM information and add more information that's crucially required towards end of construction. You don't just need to use 2D plans. The system's capable of dynamically creating a plan. So what it'll do now is it'll generate a 2D plan from the model data. So you'll see I've got MEP and I've got architectural information loaded on the left. That means that I now get architectural information and MEP objects loaded on the right-hand side. So I don't even need to have any 2D PDFs or 2D plans anymore. We could just leverage the model and dynamically create 2D views from that. And whenever we produce any reports, that's the information that we're going to be getting back. Okay. And if I just to kind of demonstrate here, I'm conscious that I've focused entirely on a built asset, or sorry, on a physical building. I just want to demonstrate the same concept here with kind of linear assets. Okay, so the reality is you can have any type of asset you want in our system as long as we've got either Revit, IFC, or NWD format models. We do not have a DGN converter yet, but it is on our roadmap, and hopefully we could deliver something by the end of this year. But right now, IFC, Revit, or Navisworks for models, or PDF or DWG for 2D plans. But again, I'm able to drill into that whatever level we wish. We're able to select the objects within that model in exactly the same manner, see the data. I'm able to attach any type of form we wish. So maybe in this example, we're actually attaching surface stressing inspections. So you can have any type of inspection form built into the system you wish. And then if I just display here, show me all my objects that have surface stressing inspections, you'll see we now get this kind of exoskeleton view of the model, and it allows me to see the individual objects that now have the relevant inspections against them, and it color codes those objects based on the inspection status right now. So extremely powerful visualization, again, all in the palm of your hand, all available without the need for any level of connectivity. I'm very conscious of time, so I'm going to stop there, and we're going to allow any questions that we've got.
Excellent. Thank you, Richard. Really, really good presentation. And yes, we have got a few questions that have come through. So I'll fire them across to you if that's okay.
Yeah, fine, no problem.
Okay, one question we had is, can we produce a non-conformance report?
Yeah, so we would deal with those. I don't think I've got any. I might have one on here on this example. I've not got one on this project. We would deal with it as a type of form-based process. So you can configure each of these forms that you see on the left-hand side here still, and we'd have just one in there for non-conformance report. And again, it'd be configured to meet the needs of your particular requirements.
Fantastic. Another one we have here is, are the snags in 2D incorporated to 3D? So would this person be able to see the snags in 2D in 3D model?
Yeah, so what I showed, what I demonstrated, where I was showing the 2D plan alongside the model and being able to navigate around the plan or navigate around the model using the plan. In our web platform, that plan is what we call georeferenced against the model. Okay, now if we import manually from Revit, that happens automatically. If we don't do it through Revit, we upload an IFC and we upload a 2D PDF, you can manually map any PDF to any IFC. So you can recreate that kind of navigational. As soon as you've got a plan mapped to a model, any issue that's created on the plan will appear in the model, and any issue created in the model will appear on the plan. The two are linked, and they're interchangeable in that respect. Sorry, just to add to that, when we produce a report, when I produce an export report from the system, then I can produce a PDF formatted report, and it looks very similar to what you're seeing here. So you're able to see all the detail about the issue, plus then the photographs. Now, obviously, if the snag's in a model, then you'll get a viewpoint of the model, but we'll also give you a 2D view of that as well, because it's much easier to kind of understand where it is from a 2D perspective.
Fantastic. As you're speaking, Richard, we've got more questions coming through, so really good to see. Are we able to create our own forms, client formats, in form-based process?
So yeah, so our forms, I'm kind of assuming you can still see my screen as I'm talking, right? So I'm still showing the iPad, but these forms can be, we call our generic terms control forms. in reality, you can create any type of data capture form you wish. So text field, numeric field, list box, drop menu, checkbox, signature fields with security. So do I want each user being able to fill in that field? Do I want users being able to see that field? And effectively, it means you can kind of get these kind of collaborative type forms. Section 1's filled in by one party. Maybe I've got one. Bear with me 1 second. If I go to a works inspection, this one would be a better example of that. So here you can kind of see section 1 can be filled in by a contractor, section 2 can be filled in by an assigned inspector, and I can put control around who can see, complete, and edit that. So create any type of form you wish. We will train people in your business how to create these forms. Certainly if you want to do enterprise with us, if you just want to do a single project, we'd probably do the forms as part of our setup and implementation, just because it's quicker. And we would then show you how to maintain and update those forms during your project.
Fantastic. Cheers, Richard. Another one here is it an integrated system where you can store different file types, CAD files, documents, spreadsheets, etc.? Can you also export info? I believe you answered this anyway, but is there a storage limit?
No. So as you appreciate, I mean, we're on some massive projects. I didn't mention it, but our background is the French market. So originally Kairnial is a French company with a leader in the French market in both field management, but also document management collaboration as well. So they don't call it a CDE in France, but that's effectively what they're doing. So you've got very, very big projects and program teams using Kairnial as a real simple CDE, but then having all the field and BIM capabilities off the back of that. And that means that we've got projects that are sharing thousands of documents, tens of thousands of documents with hundreds of users, gigabytes, terabytes, whatever we want to call it. There's no limit on the file type that you can upload. There's no limit on the file size. The limitation will be your internet connectivity. Okay, so if you're trying to put a 3 GB file up into the system, that's going to take some time to try and achieve that. And even if you get it there, then I'm not sure you'll be able to use that file in terms of open it or download it. So we need to think about that side of it, but we certainly don't impose any limits on the types of file you can share, the number of files, or the size. The only limitation you've got is what we allow you to view. So our viewers in the browser are PDF, DWG, IFC, Revit, NWD format. Anything else you can share, but you'd use whatever you've got on your machine. So if it's Word, it'd open up Word. That's how it works.
Excellent, thank you. Another one here is for QC1 works, does this allow me to identify all SFRs and VMV activities as referenced in the ITPS? And following that, and then use this software to keep track of all activities from placing them on the BIM model?
Just repeat the question. I think I get it, but just repeat it.
For QC1 works, does this allow me to identify all SFRs and VMV activities as referenced in the ITPS? And then use this software to keep track of all activities by placing them on the BIM model.
Right, I'm not entirely across all of those acronyms right now, so but I'm gonna make a couple of assumptions here. So we can configure. You kind of saw a few examples where we can configure Kairnial to manage all your inspection test plans, so ITP type processes, all of the different control points that are within each of those individual ITPs. And if we then get actions required off the back of those, again, say we get a control point that fails, you can then trigger, we call it an observation, but you can trigger an actionable process off the back of that. So it might be a defect, you might call it non-conformance, you might call it action, whatever you want to call it, but you can trigger actions in relation to that control point on your ITP. And obviously then we allow you to report around that, we allow you to track all that information. The forms themselves, so we treat an ITP as a single form typically, and that form can then be attached to an object in the BIM model. So I showed that when we went in, we could click on Windows or any object and we can attach forms. So you could directly attach your ITP processes to the relevant works that are going on within a model, or you could identify them on the 2D plan and again have a point of reference against that. I'm hoping that answers the question. If it doesn't, please contact us separately. I'm very happy to talk about it in more detail with you.
I did just ask the person that asked the question, Richard, and the answer was that you've answered it perfectly. So,
right, okay.
Yeah, well done there. Another one here is how does this link with CMAR? If defects are raised within the Kairnial platform, is this automatically appearing in the contract management platform? Right.
So the answer is today we've not yet done an integration with CMAR. So for those that are aware of the Think Project platform, we have done an integration with Conclude and TP-CDE. So you can pull models and plans from the CDE into Kairnial and make those models and plans then available on the field. Kairnial's only been within Think Project since January. So we've kind of been in integration mode as a business. Now we're in integration mode as a product. Okay, so the first things we've done is CDE. Next focus for us is around CMAR. So we understand the value. We think we could bring real value to allowing a CMAR customer to have the works information, the latest version of the contract documents available on a mobile device. We think that adds value. We think it adds value around maybe a more elaborate and robust approach to defect management and inspections than maybe what you could do in CMAR today. So it kind of complements. And the other aspect where we think we could probably add value is to allow you to be able to click on any component, click on any object, and actually then attach or start a contractual process. So we did this, and I'm going to stress, I'm not trying to fool anybody here. This is just an example of how we think this could work, but it's not implemented, okay? But we think we could very easily allow you to start a process like an early warning directly against model objects. As you can see, we're using our control form capability to replicate all the data you'd need on an early warning. And we think we could then very easily push that information to CMAR so that it starts the early warning process as you have it today in CMAR, and provide some level of connectivity between the two. And what that means is you could come into Kairnial, and again, you could kind of identify all your different model objects and areas right now that have open early warnings against them with the detail. We've still got to work out the finer points of this, but in theory, we think we could fit this together quite easily. We'd like to try and do something second half of this year.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Richard. I've gone through all the questions that were put to us from the attendees. I'm a little bit conscious of time as well, which has been great. It's a really, really good presentation. I think everyone would agree it's been very useful. So I'd like to thank yourself, Richard, and everyone for attending, and also Think Project. And just before we do leave everybody and close up this webinar, we will be running another webinar with Think Projects on the 22nd of September. So we'll make sure that that registration link is sent out to you in the follow-up emails on this from this webinar, as well as the slide deck and obviously the recording, so it can be forwarded on. So do look out for that email. Do register to come back and join us on the 22nd of September. But yeah, thank you very much, Richard. Think Project, really, really great webinar today, great content, and we look forward to seeing everyone hopefully again in just over a month's time.
No problem. Thank you very much, everybody. Thanks for your time. See you again soon.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Cheers now. Bye-bye.